But I swear, I play it all the time.
Yeah? What console was it on?
The Nintendo one. Cold Beet Soup is a podcast for casual fans who want to explore lore and fandom rabbit holes in music and gaming.
And are sad sometimes.
Okay, we're live. Live from
Welcome to
our
Cold.
basements. Oh.
God damn it. This happened another time, and I got excited, I guess. Welcome to Cold Beet Soup. You're not even in your basement. We're just starting with lies. I'm not even in a basement.
Well, you're on the bottom floor. That's kind of like the basement.
Yeah, definitely feels that way. Dude, did I tell you? So Monday to Tuesday, I slept. I didn't get enough sleep, and it was not great. So last night, and the stomping woke me up again. So I was like, well, I have this white noise machine that I use every night. What if I like find something that kind of matches the register, like something that's like a bit loud, maybe like thunder, right? Like a thunderstorm. So I had something on my white noise machine that was thunderstorm. And I slept so bad last night because I'm such a light sleeper that I like wake up, I'm like, "Ah." It just made it worse. And I was waking up like no joke, probably every hour or so. And I think it was finally like 4 a.m. when I was like, enough is enough. And I swapped back just to the white noise so I could just sleep for another like hour-ish.
Nice.
Yeah. This yeah. But most people are like, yeah, I listen to the sound of rain or thunderstorms, and I'm like, ah! Who's
What about
attacking us?
what about whales mating? Have you tried that?
That sounds I don't know if I like that. I, that made me uncomfortable. That sentence. I'm like, ugh. Oh no. I think I might just get earplugs. There's like
Yeah.
earplugs you can wear that are good for side sleepers, and I might just do that. Because
Yeah, my
the
mom
other thing,
uses them for my
oh,
dad.
because your dad snores.
Mm.
Yeah, I should ask her which one she uses. She's probably got some good ones.
Or just the
Oh,
Amazon brand.
yeah, that's true. But they got so many. I also looked at like my thermostat to see if I could program it around because it's usually around the same time every night. If I could program it to turn on just for like an hour or something or like 30 minutes. So then that AC kind of blocks it out.
Mm.
Turns out my thermostat is non-programmable, so couldn't do that.
Nice.
I was like, sick. Anyways, that's not why we're here today.
Or
Um,
not?
to talk about my problems? No. Nobody cares.
We rebranded and now we're just this. We just
We're just,
talk about our
yeah,
lives.
imagine. Maybe one day people would be interested. I don't know. That's crazy. Anyways, um, I'm really excited. I know I say that, I think I say this every
You
time.
do. You do.
But this time it's different, and I will tell. I can't see you anymore, by the way. So whatever face you make, that's fine. Actually, I'm having an anxiety moment. Let me make sure I am recording on OBS. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually recording because that would really suck for me. Um, so I've been following Super Smash Brothers Melee. I actually thought about this when I was researching, and it's been a decade that I've been playing Melee and following the competitive scene.
Old.
So you're older than me. So don't even start with that. You can't that argument does not work for you. Actually, actually, my nail tech, when I told her how old I was, she's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "You don't look like it." She's like, "You got no wrinkles." And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you so much." That honestly, she said that last week. I still think about it every day.
You know what I think about when me and my sister went to get our nails done once? Someone thought that I was my sister's daughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
Oh,
was like,
I'm sure
thanks.
she loved that. She's probably like, we're not going back there again. they didn't do a good job.
No, it was a
Like,
customer.
oh, it was a customer. That's
Uh,
crazy. That's really funny. You should have went with it. You're like, yeah, mom, you look great. See, you still got it. Oh, dude, she'd hate that. She'd want to kick your ass. Um, yeah, so Melee, it's been a big part of my life. I realized as I was going through this, like I really am passionate about the game. So I'm excited to share that passion today. Um, there's a lot of content on YouTube about Melee, especially for like because it's a mechanically complex game. So people are have all sorts of tutorials on different skills, or if you want to learn a different character. I've seen videos about different professional players. Um, but something, and I've seen a couple videos where it's like this game is perfection, which is like, yeah, duh. But something obvi. God, I'm cringe. Sorry, everyone.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
people have already clicked away by now, I'm
yeah,
sure.
they're like,
Like this is
you know,
painful.
they didn't click away about the whale mating. This is where they clicked away.
If the whale mating didn't do it for him, this it definitely did. uh, but the one thing that I've thought about, because I'm like, wow, it's been a decade that I've liked this game, and others have, followed it for a long time. It's over 20 years old, this game. And it got me
Sheesh.
thinking, yeah, it got me thinking like, why has it stayed consistent? What makes it so special? And that's what we're going to talk about today. This is the rabbit hole we're going to fall into. So that's why the title of my presentation is Why Melee Will Never Die, because I truly think that this game is not going anywhere anytime soon. Like it's just it's just built different. That's all. So let's get started. I have my little outline here as usual, so I stay structured. So there's five major reasons. The first one is the gameplay depth and skill ceiling. The second one is the strong community. I think the best way to talk about the community is to talk about the competitive scene. So I'm gonna go over the entire history of the competitive scene, but I'm not gonna go like there's some other videos that go really in depth. So if you want that, like go there, but because if I just focus on the community, that could be a video in itself, really. Um, Same with the players and their storylines. I'm gonna talk about some players in tandem with the community bullet points. So it's like bullet points 2 and 3 will kind of blend a little. And then Nintendo hating it because it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. So we'll talk about that. And then the final point being nostalgia and cultural impact. I think all these things put together are the recipe of melee and why it's so special. So before we even get into any of that, in case if you've lived under a rock and you don't even know what melee is,
I have.
super, yeah, right. Imagine they're like, "What is me?" No one ever explains what it is. Like, well, this video is for you. This podcast is for you. Super Smash Bros. Melee is a game that was released on the GameCube on November 21st, 2001, and it was intended to be a party game. It was never intended to be played competitively, and I think that is one of the reasons why Nintendo really shuns this community so much because they just never intended for it to exist.
It came out November 21st.
Yeah.
So man, if this episode came out next week, it would have been the anniversary.
Oh man. I'm taking an L already. Like the ghost episode came out on Halloween and that was awesome.
Yeah. We can always push it off a week. Just
So sad. Bro, I don't even know what day it is, bro. Like what day is it?
the
The
13th.
13th? Okay. No, it's fine. It could be like in the description, I can say in anticipation of the anniversary.
Because, yeah, people read the description.
Oh man. Someone comment if you read the descriptions that I work on because I make fun little blurbs in the beginning of every episode and I'm really proud of them every time. Nobody reads it. That's fine. It's fine. It's honestly fine. I'm glad I put that effort in for no reason at all. So anyway, pivoting some more. Melee is special for fighting. Have you played any fighting games besides Smash Brothers? Like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, anything like that?
Fortnite?
Um, no. Like typical fighting games, like Fortnite's more like a battle royale type.
Mm.
Um, I
No,
only
just
ask
Super Smash
because
Bros. Then.
okay, so I only meant ask that because typical fighting games like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, those
Oh, wait, no,
types.
I've played Mortal Kombat. I own it. The 11th one or whatever.
Oh, okay. Um, have and you played it?
Fatality.
Well, this is a great start so far. Really strong for us. So I don't know if you remember, but or how much you know about Mortal Kombat or those types of games, but typically there are combos that just are like inherent combos in the game.
I just
So
smashed the buttons.
that's true.
Hmm.
But if you memorize the combos, you get really good. So if you do that, you can get really good at the game. Whereas with Melee or any Smash Brothers game, really, you can mash buttons, but if you're playing against someone that knows what they're doing, like you make up your own combos. You don't have to
Mm.
know, you're not memorizing things. Now, there are existing competitive players that have come up with special combinations of moves that do work. But it depends on the scenario. It requires you to think more, is what I'm getting at, is it's a very
Oh, we
dynamic
froze.
game and you're really playing
We
against your
froze.
opponent. Oh, I mm, mm,
We.
mm, Discord is today's not the day. Um So that's one thing that makes it special. The other thing that makes it a bit special is typically in fighting games, you start with your full health bar and it goes down as you get hit. But in Smash Brothers, it's the reverse. You start at 0%, and the more you get hit, the percentage increases. So just like little fun facts, but even those little factors alone make it stand out. So now we're going to get into that first bullet point of
Is he farting?
yeah, so dude, you know what's funny is when I put this picture on there, I'm like, she's gonna say that. Like I already knew you were gonna say that because it does look like he's farting. There's no way to take a screenshot of this move without it looking like you're farting. He's not farting, he's wave dashing. We're gonna talk about it. So the gameplay of Melee is really complex, especially for a game that wasn't designed to be competitive. There's techniques like the wave dashing you see on the slide there, something called L canceling, shuffling. Shuffling stands for short hop, fast fall, L cancel. Um, and this adds a layer of depth to the game that lets players, play at a high level. Now, if I were to go into all of these techniques, that would be also a very long video, and
Mm.
it would be very dull. Um, I'm only going to go over wave dashing, and that's why I put it on the slide, just to give like a little taste of how involved this game can be. So wave dashing, the way it works is usually, if someone's trying to hit you, you try to dodge a move. There's a button that you press to dodge. Now, of course, you can also jump, and if you're in the air and someone's trying to hit you in the air, you can also dodge in the air. That's called an air dodge. And the way wave dashing works is if you're air dodging diagonally down. And when you do that fast enough, it causes your character to slide a little bit. And that's why you get those little air puffs because you're sliding on the stage. Okay, cool. So you can slide around. Big fucking whoop. Like who cares about that? Well, in competitive play, you are on a stage, right? You're trying to space yourself away from the other player. Um, so that's one way that wave dashing is useful, is it's useful for spacing. It also helps you extend the hitbox of a ground attack. A hitbox is um like if I'm gonna punch you in the face, my hitbox is my fist, right? Right here. This is
Mm.
the hitbox. This is what I could hit you with. Um, Wave dashing helps expand that. So of course you have a better chance of hitting someone. That's great in a fighting game. Now you can develop this further. You can combine wave dashing with other movement techniques, and then you can have faster approaches. You can have safer approaches. Because remember, like when you're playing, you're trying to attack the other person, but you don't want to just like attack and you're just like, exposing yourself as well because you can get punished for making a mistake. So this is like wave dashing is such a like this is considered like a base level skill for melee, but even like I can't even do it consistently because I don't practice this stuff. I'm lazy. I'm a lazy player. So but if you want to play at a high level, this is like a baseline thing that you need to learn because otherwise, you're going to fall behind. What's interesting about wave dashing is it was actually discovered while Melee was being developed. So the guy that made Melee, his name is Masahiro Sakurai. He also made the Kirby games, which is a fun fact.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he there was an interview with Nintendo Power magazine, and he mentioned how wave dashing was noticed, but he decided not to remove it because he thought it would not affect the gameplay to a significant degree, which saying that now is really funny because of how important it is. From the player's perspective, the way it was discovered, because this is like back in the early 2000s, right? So we don't really, it's more of the internet's still kind of newer. So there was a forum called Smashboards. Smashboards was literally a site where people discussed Smash Brothers, and someone mentioned they made a post. They're like, "Yeah, I was like messing around in the game and I discovered this thing." He called it a mad dash. They didn't call it a wave dash at that time. But this was like the first official recording of it. Um, although as I opened up that thread and I scrolled down, someone in 2009 said that there was an even older thread, but no one responded to it. They like bumped it and it got closed. So technically there's an older thread, but we don't know where it is because it got closed out. But so they discovered this pretty early. In the beginning, it was kind of like it was debated on how useful it was. Actually, this next slide, if you are watching this, listening to this podcast, or watching this podcast and you know about Melee, this is a funny slide because the guy that made this post, for audio listeners, I'll read it out loud. The date is June 25th, 2002. He writes, "Wave dashing isn't that appealing. It seems kinda stupid." The guy that posted this is Chillin' Dude, who was one of the first pro Smash players. He was like one of the early OG pros. Which is just ironic because he definitely used wave dashing quite a ton when he started getting good. So
I love how he joined June 18th and then days later wrote that message.
yeah, yeah, because he heard about that thread. He's like, man, that's stupid. But so there was a lot of back and forth about it. Later on, Sakurai noted that he didn't like wave dashing. He felt that it led to separation between beginning players and advanced players. Um, and I'm mentioning this because I think this is kind of another way of like Nintendo not liking the competitive community because when he was working on Brawl, he wanted to introduce because Super Smash Bros. Brawl was the game that came after. He wanted to introduce more aerial combat in the game, and he also like changed air dodging completely. So in Brawl, there was no wave dashing. There was actually no wave dashing in Brawl, Super Smash Bros. 4, and now in the newest one, Super Smash Ultimate, they did bring it back, kind of. It's a lot slower though. So this is just like I wanted to mention this point because some of this stuff like overlaps, and I think it's a good time to bring it up. But I just thought that was interesting that like originally he's like, oh, who cares? It's not going to affect anything, and now he's like, oh, I'm going to get rid of it because it's separating the players.
Mm.
Um, but all in all, um, just talking about one skill, this is like just one thing. There's so many other things you can learn. So having that skill ceiling keeps the game fresh and challenging for people. There's always room for improvement. Like you can never stop practicing this game. And I think that that really appeals to like the try hard sweats, like the people that really want to do well. If you put in, hours and grind the tech skill, they call it tech skill, technical skill. And it's so fast paced and precise that like the later Smash games don't really have that. So it makes it unique among the fighting games. So I think it's a cool thing. Like I remember I've practiced a couple tech skill things. To me, it's very mind numbing. But some people really like it. Kudos to them. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the community.
This is a
Um,
great picture.
Yeah, it's from the early 2000s, so that's why it's potato quality. It's really hard. It was really hard to find. Like, I wanted to find a picture of like early tournaments, but since they were so grassroots, it's like, in people's basements and stuff. That's how the uh, competitive community started. It was completely grassroots. Like, started with players going to each other's like houses, bringing like the CRTs. That's another thing is for Super Smash Brothers Melee, you play on like a tube TV because you don't have any input lag from when you press the buttons on your controller and the TV registering it. Versus if you use like a newer TV, you have a little bit of lag. Now, for a casual person, who cares? But if you're playing competitive, I mean, you've watched tournaments, it's very fast.
Hmm.
So you lose those seconds. Those seconds mean a lot. Um, and that's why I have my own little baby tube TV because I'm Delulu and think that I move very fast and like I notice these things, but I don't even know if I'm good enough to know this. Or maybe it's Copia. Like I've tried it on like a tube TV and like a HD TV, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's slower. Like, but I don't know if it's just me, like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so completely grassroots. And I think that's really special because like most fighting games, if a new game comes out, they get picked up by some like major gaming um entity to do tournaments, or even like the creators of the game will support it, but Melee never had that. So all these like OG events, people weren't making a lot of money. They were just doing it to like hang out with their friends and play. So I think for a lot of players, it was about their love of the game, not so much the money. And I think that's like an important thing to distinguish. And I think that's like the underlying reason why it's lasted so long. Um, the first like official tournament series was by a guy named Matt Deasy. He was um he basically would like run tournaments in his basement, I think, or like in his house. He lived in like Northern California, and he started hosting this series. They called it Tournament Go. So he started it in April 2002, and he had like 6 of these tournaments. So these are the early days. This is like 2001 until 2004. Tournament Go helped bring attention to like a standard unified rule set
One
of
sec.
legal. Oh,
One sec. Acho filmoio. Sorry, my
time on
dad's
Melee,
all.
damn it!
Sorry, my
Gosh,
dad's all like, "Hi, hello."
get with the program. Ugh. Just kidding. I just imagined your dad playing Melee.
That'd be
I
cool.
feel like he would. I think he would play like Donkey Kong or like Ganondorf or something like that.
Why would he
I
be
feel like
Donkey Kong?
because I feel like he'd like a bigger character that hits hard.
I don't know. I feel like he would play the little guy.
Kirby,
That's
Pichu.
what
He
I
plays
I
Pichu.
always I always pick Kirby just because I could fly.
Kirby is what all the casuals do.
Yeah.
Because when you start out, and I get it, because when you start out playing, you don't know how to get back on stage. So
Mm.
Kirby is like the easy cop out to get back on stage because that's like, rule number one is you're trying to kick people off the stage. So
Yeah.
any casual will play Kirby. So I'm actually pretty well versed in Kirby matchups because when casuals want to play, I'm like, oh, they're gonna pick Kirby, and they and they always do. Which is there's nothing. Kirby's not considered a good character, but maybe one day you never know. That's another cool thing about Melee, and we'll talk about it more later. But some of those like lower tier, mid tier characters, they have some really good players, and that creates a lot of like shakeups in tournaments, which makes it interesting to watch.
Mm.
Um, but anyways, yeah, so that tournament go helped create like a standard, because when you're doing a professional event, you have rules that you follow. Perfect example actually is Tournament Go 5 had items on low. Um, and Tournament Go 6 was the first one where he removed the items. And he banned a couple stages. The reason stages get banned is because of really balance. Some of the stages like shit's flying out at you or the stages change. So they try to, for professional melee, they try to pick stages that are as neutral as possible to both players. Um, and then for the items thing, actually, supposedly the reason why he took items off is because he like played someone, and they were using items, and he wasn't doing well, so he got upset. And I get it. I feel like items are kind of a crutch. Like if you're gonna play professionally, you want to play player versus player, like skill versus
Mm.
skill, because items are so random. Like you don't know what's gonna come out. Um, Interestingly enough, early days there was like a West Coast East Coast thing. So like West Coast liked using items, East Coast did not. Um, some of the OG players, the reason also why I picked this picture in particular, these are some of the best players from the early days. So the guy on the far left, his name is Ken. He was a West Coast player. He played Marth. He was known as the King of Smash for a while. Fun fact about him, he came up with something known as the Ken combo, which is a combination of moves that you would do as Marth, and some players still do that to this day. So it's kind of cool. Like you hear commentators say, like, "Oh, the Ken combo," which is another like grassroots thing, right? Because this guy, he's the one that came up with it. Like nobody else
Mm.
came up with it. Um, it's just something that worked, and he used it a lot. The guy to the right of him is Isaiah. He used to play Smash 64. Actually don't know who his main is. I don't know about Isaiah as much, but I don't remember who told him. Somehow they were like, "Oh, you played 64, you should try Melee," and then he fell in love with it. Don't know who the guy is with the white shirt. I have no idea who that is. But the guy to the right, in the red is Azin. He was a very good player on the East Coast. And who did he play? I don't remember. I only remember Ken plays Marth because I play Marth, so I feel like this is a very biased description of
Who's the
everyone.
guy in the back in the hat?
No clue.
Wow.
I only know who the three are. Again, it was hard to get like a picture with a lot of the old players, so this was the best that I could come up with. It's it's hard because like early 2000s, no one's got phones, no one's taking
Right.
pictures like that, so it's just a hard thing. But basically, the TLDR, is that with these Tournament Go series, that um, made people create other national tournaments all over different regions of the US. And all this activity paved the way for increased support from large video game organizations such as Major League Gaming. Yay! So, this is known as the Golden Age, 2004 to 2008. Major League Gaming added Melee to its largest tournaments. So now Melee had, actual like large prize pools. Like this is MLG Vegas 2006. The winner got $10,000. That's a huge deal.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And this is PC Chris. He was another OG player as well. I don't remember them as well anymore because they don't play anymore. But like back when I first started out, I like knew who all these people were pretty well.
Mm.
So with that, of course, um interest for Melee is going to grow because now there's money involved, of course, right? So one kind of sad thing is in 2007, MLG dropped Melee from its tournaments because March 2008 was when Brawl was going to come out. So interest was kind of declining in Melee. So they were preparing for focusing on Brawl. But the good thing was that Evo, which is another big fighting game tournament series, added Melee in 2007. So they lost one, but they gained one. So that created a huge wave of excitement. Evo's like one of the biggest ones out there, so it was a big deal. Um, and this slide is cool because this is Ken. This is Evo 2007. This is Ken and Mango. Mango was a youngin back in 2007. He still plays to this day, and he still wins. So
Oh.
we're gonna talk about him some more later, but I wanted to bring it up because like Ken's retired now. He hasn't played in I think he retired in 2007. Um, so the fact that Mango has continued to play throughout all these years, because the gameplay has evolved over time, he's kept up with it, which I think is pretty cool. So now we're moving to the Dark Age. I had to put the I hate Brawl, man. I hate that game so much.
Why?
I because it's slow, it's not balanced. It's just it's not fun to play. But there was a mod of this that was made called Project M, and I played the shit out of that. Project M balanced it out, made it a bit faster. It was so much more fun to play. And if you played as Ganondorf, there was actually a special move because he has the sword. You can use his sword and like smash people. So we would troll with that. But yeah, I don't like Brawl. I think it's trash. But it's fine.
It's
This
my
was the Dark
favorite
Age.
game.
No, it's not. Like I know you
Yeah, it
for so
is.
long. It's not. Stop lying.
I play it every day.
That's such a lie, bro.
I play as Pikachu.
The thing is, like, I know you so well. That stuff doesn't work on me anymore. I'm not
But
afraid anymore.
but I swear I play it all the time.
Yeah? What console was it on?
The Nintendo one.
At least make one up. At least make one up. Wait, you don't know?
Was it a GameCube?
Clink, clink, clink. Man, you capping. Ooh, clink, 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 clink. Man, you
I
capping.
play it on an
Rip, splash,
emulator,
water,
okay?
rip, splash, water, water. It came out on the Wii, bro.
Oh wait, really? That's the only
Yeah.
one. I think that's the only one we never owned. Like I played the Wii once and it was the weight one where you step on the little weight thing and it tells you you're fat and it's like
Oh
thanks
my
Wii.
god. Yeah, I know it's on the Wii. Oh wow, that's actually kind of bogus. I just processed what you said.
Do you remember that though?
Yeah, it was the Wii
Wii
Fitness.
Fitness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Wii Fit trainer, I think, was the one that told you that you were fat. She's like, "Hey, let's
Sit
talk.
down for a minute. You need to
Sit
sit
down.
cuz
You need to sit down. You need to sit down. Actually, no, you should get moving because
yeah.
you need to start burning
do
calories."
do the steps while I talk.
Wow.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
meant the Wii. Yeah.
yeah, sure you
I
did.
played on an emulator, I swear.
Yeah, which emulator do you use?
Oh, you know, the one.
Ah, wow. Clink, clink, clink. Man, you capping.
I could pull one up. My therapist sent me different emulators. He's like, you should try these.
What? Really?
Yeah, because we talk about video games a lot. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I see you just lie so much. I don't even know. I don't even know what to believe. Like,
I'm not actually
sheesh.
here. I'm
Yeah, it's
I'm
a hologram.
I'm Vicky's dad in a wig.
Can we do an episode
Just my
with
dad
your
sitting
dad with the wig? We don't even have to post it. It could be just for us. But we could do it for if we ever make a Patreon.
He's just sitting there like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We could talk in Lithuanian and then I'll translate it. We could translate it later. We could do a bad dub of our own podcast where the lips don't even match what we're saying.
So like all the Russian
Yes.
movies.
Yeah. Just like old times. That would be sick. Oh my god. Hey guys, subscribe so we get more subscribers and then we'll make a Patreon and we'll do that.
Yeah, you want to see my dad in a wig? Come on.
Dude, her dad is awesome.
Mm,
I like hanging out with her dad. He's a cool dude.
mm.
So yeah, this was the Dark Age. This was also known as the Era of the Five Gods. So it's from 2008 to 2013. Um, Nintendo released Brawl. All the Melee players questioned if the community is going to survive because a lot of them went to play Brawl, and it turned out to kind of be true. For an entire year. They didn't have a single tournament. Um, but literally 1 year later, March 2009, they had a tournament called Revival of Melee. This is a picture from the tournament. That's a lot of people. This isn't
Yeah.
a comic book store. Um, Again, very grassroots vibe, right? Like, look at all the TVs. Look, I think it's like what are those touchpad or ThinkPads? Like one of those ThinkPad laptops. Like, um, so this was the first event, of course, since Brawl came out. But it turns out that a lot of people were interested in playing Melee again because they didn't like Brawl. They said it was too slow. There were less combos, so they just went back to Melee. So
Brawl is good. I don't know what they're talking
oh my god. So, Evo and MLG added Brawl to their tournaments, but the Melee community did their own grassroots thing. So, something that's cool about Melee is I've noticed I didn't even think about this until was researching, but there are several tournament series that are like Melee only tournaments. There's Genesis, which is a tournament series just for Melee, the Pound series, which um, I don't think that name is a good choice.
about. No.
Like Pound 4.
Did Ludwig do one?
He did. We're gonna talk about that later.
Okay.
He's done a couple. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring him up a couple times because I think his support is part of the grassroots thing.
Mm.
But having their own tournaments, they were able to maintain numbers, similar to Brawl actually, even though Brawl was brand new. Um, and at this time, because I mentioned the era of the five gods, those OG players such as Ken, Asin, PC Chris, they started to play less and actually retire. And there was a new era of players. And these five, they called them five gods because these five players won every single tournament from 2008 to 2015. Like one of these five was going to win. We're going to talk about them later in the players section, but I wanted to bring it up like when they kind of came up.
Mm.
Um, and I think having these people, like, if you want to become better, don't you want to go to a tournament where one of these people are playing? Like, even if you don't get to play them, you get to watch them. And that's like a really cool thing. Maybe you get to do they call them friendlies where you're just playing with another person. Friendlies, it's like a casual thing, like you're not counting wins or losses. It's literally just for practice. Like imagine if you get to do a friendly with one of them. That's great practice. So that was one nice thing. So they kept it going and then 2013 to 2018 was known as the Platinum Age. The reason why they call it that is because they had a huge spike in popularity. The reason being was Evo 2013. I remember this. I was there. So I didn't actually go. Sorry, I meant I was there to witness this happening. Um, Evo, Melee wasn't originally going to be in Evo, but they were looking for an eighth game to add to the tournament. So the way they decided to do this was to hold a donation drive for breast cancer research. Whichever game community raises the most money gets to become that final game. The Smash, do you want to guess how much money they raised? The Smash
Mm,
community?
is it a high number or a low number?
It's, think for a grassroots community, I think it's really high.
8,000.
It's higher than that.
Okay, 15,000.
It's higher than that.
60,000.
Higher than that.
100,000.
Almost $95,000.
Damn, that was way off.
But still, like, that's a ton of money. And
Yeah,
they
because
had
when you
some,
said grassroots, I'm thinking like, like
yeah,
8,000.
sorry, I didn't frame it well. It was more than I thought. Like, I was like,
Mm.
because I remember when this happened, I was like, where did all this money come from? Like, that's crazy. But they won. There was some stiff competition with some other games, but they won out in the end. So it Melee was part of Evo 2013, and it broke its record of the most amount of players entering. In Evo 2013, they had 709 players enter the competition. So that's huge. Um, Around the same time, the release of the Smash Brothers documentary brought more attention to the competitive scene. This is how I got into Melee. So when I was this was when I was at my first job, I had a
Mm.
coworker who would play Melee every day. It was like his newest obsession, and he wanted people to play with. So he kept mentioning it to me, and I was like, nah, I don't. I was like, it's not for me. And then he was like, you need to watch this documentary, and I was like, okay. The documentary is 4 hours long, by the way, and I was like, yeah, not so sure about that. That seems like a huge time investment, kind of crazy. But I
Mm.
was like, you know what? I'll just open it, see what this is about. And I watched the whole thing. Like, and it's still on YouTube now. So if you want to watch, anyone of you want to watch it, it's very interesting. I watched part of it for this research because they talk about Ken, they talk about Azin, that
You
East
should
Coast
link
versus
it
West
below.
Coast. Yeah, I can link it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great um documentary. It's meant to focus on seven of the like major players at that time and kind of how the like competitive scene started. Something about it, and I think that's what drew me to it was like the community. Truly. Seeing like how people just came together over this game, the competitiveness. I really liked it. So not just me, others were affected by it. So tournaments such as Evo 2014 had a lot of people. Apex is another big tournament series that had a lot of people, enter as players. So Melee being featured on all these top tiered events meant that, well, they're going to have sponsors. Sponsors are interested. So Cloud9, Team Curse, Evil Geniuses, they started sponsoring Melee players. Huge deal for them, right?
Mm.
Um, they didn't have this before, but now it's like, hey, I can go to a tournament and I don't have to pay out of pocket for my hotel, for my flight, for this. And then for the other, the players that don't have sponsors yet, that gives them something to strive to. So that, brought more people around this time as well. The near the end time of it is when the five gods were kind of declining.
One sec,
Oh,
sorry. Nah, now made to know. Okay, sorry.
no,
Might do
no,
it
it's
again.
okay. That happens like every week. They're like, "Did you eat?"
No, he just asked if the dogs ate.
Oh, oh,
I only fed
uh,
the most important person, Rocky.
true. Besides Rocky, like, who cares?
What about Carol?
True. I do like Carol, but her breath stank.
Yeah, too.
She's stanky. She's one of Vicky's dogs. She's like an old lady. Carol is literally an old lady.
Yeah.
If you saw an old lady in dog, like when you see a picture of Carol, you're like, oh yeah, that's an old lady. Like
Yeah.
100%. She just looks like an old lady.
Mm.
Yeah, I still think about that taco costume that we put on her, and she just didn't even care. She was walking around with it.
She
Just
was like, "This is my life now. I'm a
she was
taco."
like, I guess I'm a taco now. She was just cool about it. It was pretty awesome. um, yeah, so around this time, because it was 2013 to 2018, so near the end of this time, there was some shakeups in the tournaments. There was a guy named Leffen. He was known as the God Slayer because he would beat out one of the five gods in tournaments. And then there was another guy, I think his name was Plup. I think it's Plup. Yeah, Plup also started to rise in the ranks. So five gods weren't just dominating the scene anymore. You had some new faces show up. Now we're getting into. I made
So
this
bright.
myself.
So bright.
Can you see the cats?
Yeah, I can see the.
I
You don't
edited
like
it
Ultimate?
myself. Okay, I will say this. I think Ultimate is okay, but I don't crave playing it like I do Melee.
To play it online, I think it's ass. Like when I try to play with others, it's always ass.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, I think usually if people want to play Ultimate online not casually, they use Dolphin
Mm,
because the Nintendo's matchmaking system is really bad.
yeah.
It's like really bad. So people just don't use it. But yeah, so this is the Chaos Age and the fall of the five gods. So 2018 to 2020, uh, many of the five gods stepped out of melee play. We're going to talk about that later when we talk about them.
Oh, you're
And
talking
then
about like the
those
top
five
players?
players, yeah,
Okay,
those
okay.
five like big wigs. So it's kind of chaotic because
Mm.
now they're like, okay, who's gonna be at the top now? And then Ultimate came out, and a lot of the melee players went to play that just to give it a shot. But unlike Brawl and Smash Brothers 4, Smash Brothers 4, I didn't even like it, never came up in my research because that game was so bad, nobody cared about it. I swear. I remember when it came out, I
What
bought
did it
it.
come out for?
I think it was DS.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm telling you, I bought it, never touched it again. Like, Super Smash Brothers. I'm just checking to make sure that it's on the DS. Because I'm telling, yeah, 3DS and Wii U. Oh,
Ugh.
I don't know how to on the Wii U too. Yeah, 3DS. But I'm telling you, like, I should see how many hours I have on it. It's not a lot. It was not a good game. So people went back to Melee quickly. But with Ultimate, a lot of those Melee players continue to play for longer. I think almost all the five gods, except for like one of them, were even streaming the game. One of them, I know he took a hiatus from Melee to play Ultimate, didn't compete in Melee again for like 8 months. So lots of stuff was changing around. And then we get to this. I made this slide. I'm really proud of it. I found this picture of Marth, like, oh, shaking my head. So 2019. What? I think it's art. What?
Not as good as my elephants.
Yeah. Yo! If you guys haven't watched the last episode, that's some of the craziest slides I've ever seen on a PowerPoint. Like, truly. Those eyes, I close my eyes and I see those elephants' eyes. Like, no, the giraffe, I think it was. Was it the
Oh
giraffe
yeah,
with the
it's a
creepy
giraffe.
eyes?
Yeah.
Oh, so creepy. But the reason why Martha's face palming is because Evo dropped Melee from its main lineup for the first time
Can I
since it
ask a
had that
question?
resurge. Yeah,
Sorry. Who is it Marth?
yeah.
What like what
Martha's from Fire Emblem.
I've never played that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've never played those games either.
Mm.
But that's in Ultimate. There's also Lucina. Um, they added some more Fire Emblem players. But yeah, it's just another like Nintendo game.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So Evo dropped Melee. This raised some concerns that Melee might start declining again. But of course they did that same thing as before, where they just did their grassroots stuff, focused on those tournaments. Um, Also, something that was interesting was Hungrybox, who was one of the five gods, he was still playing. He won like 9 tournaments in a row from late 2018 to 2019. I remember this because I don't like him. Um, I only don't like him because he plays Jigglypuff, and I think Jigglypuff, the way he played it was very slow and campy, and to me, it made tournaments not interesting to watch. Um, but I think that adds on to the chaotic age because he was doing really well. People couldn't figure out how to beat him for a while until a couple other players came out, and then they started to shake it up again. But it just goes to show how, like, as the time goes on, there's just different ebbs and flows. Now we're going to talk about the final age, which is the Diamond Age and the rise of Netplay. So 2020 until now. So as we know, 2020 was COVID. Tournaments stopped happening. So
Mm.
people went to Netplay, which is why I put that screenshot of Dolphin. Dolphin is the main emulator that people would use to
Ah,
play
yeah, yeah. I played
Mario
Brawl
Party.
on Dolphin.
Oh, okay. Sure. Sure you did. I don't know if you could do Wii stuff. Actually, I think you can. I think you can. Because I swear in the settings there was something for a Wiimote. I swear. It's been a while since I played online. That's how you get bodied, man. You play online and you just get humbled real quick. So a lot of the melee players started using Dolphin, but the one kind of downside was that there was a lot of latency. So you
Mm.
could only play really regionally. Like there's no way to do an international tournament.
Mm.
So people pivoted. They focused on the different regions, would do tournaments there. Um, and they still did okay. Remember, I talked about the Pound series. There was one called Pound Online, which again, phrasing not the best, but they had a thousand entrants that were ready to pound. Sorry.
That that's almost as bad as the new Wicked movie.
Yeah.
They came out with toys and stuff, and on the back they had Wicked.com, which I guess turns out to be a porn site.
Sick. Oh my gosh, I love that. Are they gonna recall the toys, or is it just like
Or
they're
they'll
gonna try to
buy,
get that
or
domain?
they'll buy
Maybe
it. Yeah, because it's who
that could be a
owns
cool
Wicked?
like, huh?
Hold on, let me check Wicked.com real quick. No, I'm just kidding.
See your phone. Here, let me put it up on the screen here. It's like the old school where all the pop-ups come up and then you just hear
Yeah.
like, I'm like, sorry guys, technical difficulty. And they're like, welcome back, Zorlda. You want to pick up where you left off?
Hot single men in your area.
You little freak, you. Anyways, people were getting frustrated with Netplay. But thankfully we had something called Slippy. That's why I put the little logo on the slide. Slippy is another grassroots thing. It's a couple people from the community that came together to create this project. Most of it is open source. It's on like GitHub, but the purpose of Slippy was to uh, add some like quality of life features to Melee, like when you're trying to get better at playing, you want to be able to replay your matches or rewatch. So they added stuff like that to Slippy. And the other thing they figured out was the online component. So now you could play Slippy online, which was like a modified version of Dolphin, and that reduced the latency. So now you can play over large distances with no latency. So this came out like June 22nd. And with that alternative, all the players started using Slippy because, like, this is great. Now we don't have this latency problem. The only thing that became a concern was okay, we have this really awesome thing. Nintendo might try to shut it down because, intellectual
It's
property rights.
it's
It's not,
Nintendo, and
it's
Nintendo doesn't like people
Nintendo.
to have fun.
And sure enough, November 19th, 2020, they were going to do a tournament series called the Big House. It's another melee grassroots type series. Um, Big House got a cease and desist from Nintendo. because of using Slippy. So they canceled that tournament, and people got pissed off. The hashtag free melee started trending on Twitter, and this is where Ludwig comes in. Ludwig announced the Ludwig Ogren Championship Series 3 with a $10,000 prize going to a charity of choice by the winner. They also did a fundraiser, so they actually raised that prize to $42,000 through just donations.
Damn.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, this community don't play. Like they do not play.
Well, they
The,
actually play, but
the Lord is testing me today.
well, am I wrong?
You know what's funny is I meditated for the first time today in a long time. I used to like meditate. I've been getting a lot angrier recently, so I'm like trying to like, find my zen. So good practice. Good
Well,
practice right here.
if you could see my face, the Slippy thing is making me green, so I look like Shrek.
Pain out. You're an all suffer. Pain out. Get out of my swamp. But yeah, this was so Ludwig. He's a big fan of Melee. He used to. I don't know. Has he? I think he might have entered a tournament not that long ago. But yeah, he's a big fan. So he's supported the community a couple times. So that's pretty awesome. I'm gonna talk about something that was some drama. Late 2022, there were going to be two tournaments: Smash World Tour, which I'm going to call SWT just for the sake of my sanity to not have to say it multiple times.
Why not?
And the Panda Cup, they were going to happen around the same time. There are two differences. Panda Cup had an official license from Nintendo. SWT did not. However, SWT said that Nintendo verbally assured them that they could operate without issues, but they didn't give them a license. One day on Twitter, SWT organizers put out this document. Ludwig did a mogul mail on this. I don't know if you
Mm,
remember. I remember. The organizers claimed that Panda's CEO pressured tournaments to join the Panda Cup, and they implied that Nintendo might shut down unlicensed events, hinting at SWT. This strained their relationships with their sponsors. And then Nintendo issued a cease and desist to SWT right before their championship, like the right before the tournament. So they prevented the event. They canceled it. They also had plans for 2023. That got canceled. And why did Nintendo do it? They said, "Oh, it's because you don't have a formal license." And the community lost their minds. Everybody was pissed off. They were mad at Nintendo. They boycotted the Panda Cup too. The Panda CEO resigned, and the Panda Cup got canceled too. So now it's like, well, shit,
damn.
we lost two tournaments. Community comes through strong yet again. Ludwig's Mogul Mail is when he announced that Scuffed World Tour, um, which he scheduled for the same week as SWT. So it was very last minute. Um, he did have a prize for the players, and the tournament raised money. They raised $27,000 for the people organizing SWT because SWT Smash World Tour is like another grassroots thing. So
Mm,
they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like this is all they do. They do
mm,
melee tournament. They do tournaments and shit. To lose that money is awful. So they helped raise money that way. There was another tournament called Main Stage. That's the other picture that was ran by Beyond the Summit, another melee group. They gave free entry to people that were going to enter Smash World Tour. And so that was kind of nice. So if you hadn't registered for main stage yet, you get free entry. And then the rest of the entry fees were paid, or sorry, were donated directly to Smash World Tour. So they raised a lot of money. So basically, like, the reason why I went over this whole history is to show the resilience of the community through the competitive, you know, uh, sphere, because I feel like there has been so many times that they've been removed or something has happened, and they just find a way to stay alive. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So the next thing is the players. I did a slide for the five gods because we did talk about them a little bit. The reason why I brought up the players is because this brings like a human component to the game. It almost makes the game like about the players as much as the game itself. You're going to find someone that you connect with. You're going to want to watch because you want to watch the players that you like, right? They all have their stories, they all have their quirks, and that makes it more engaging. So I think that's a part of it as well. For the five gods, from left to right, we have PPMD. He is a Marth player. PP. Hungry Box, he's the Jigglypuff player. Armada, he plays Peach, but he also picked up Fox. Mango, so that's Mango older with the US do-rag. He plays Fox and Falco. And then Mewtwo King, who plays Marth, but he also played Sheik. Mewtwo King is really interesting because he was like a total nerd where he would study all the frame data. So like frame data, like looking at like frame by frame,
Mm.
what happens when you do this, what happens when you do that. And he learned like most people, you'll learn a character, maybe two, because it takes so long to get good at a character. Mewtwo King like studied all the characters because he was just interested in it. Um, Mewtwo King is actually the reason why I play Sheik. PPMD is the reason why I play Marth. Actually, both Mewtwo King, because played Marth as well. So those two guys are like the reason why I picked the character that I have. Like, and PPMD, it's sad about him. He left in 2016. He was having health issues, but he did come back to streaming. So now
Mm.
he streams, but he hasn't done any tournaments. Um, Hungry Box, he still streams as well, and he still competes. He's still placing pretty highly. Um, he's interesting because before him, like nobody played Jigglypuff really. And because of him, there are lot more Jigglypuff players now.
Now, are
Our
they are
Mhm.
they all Americans?
It's so funny you say that because I was going to get to Armada, who's Swedish. So Armada is Swedish. The rest are American.
Mm.
There are players. Leffen is also Swedish. One of the guys I'm going to talk about later is from Japan. So it's an international thing.
Okay.
Um, most of the focus is U.S. players, but there are some good international players. I know in Sweden they have quite the melee scene, probably
Wait,
because of
so the middle
Armada.
guy is the Swedish guy?
Yeah,
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 looks Swedish. He looks
yeah.
Swedish.
He looks very Swedish. He was. I liked watching him. I actually wanted to learn Peach because of him, but it was like it wasn't really my jam, so I didn't end up picking her. But he was very precise. He would do a
Mm.
lot of cool stuff with her, and I liked watching him play. Mango, Mango is of all the players, because okay, beyond just like going to tournaments, you need to make money another way. So a lot of these guys stream on Twitch as well.
Mm.
Of all of these guys, Mango by far has the most followers. I've watched his stream a couple times. Like he's a very people like Mango because he's unapologetically himself. He's pretty like down to earth. He's funny too. So, and he's been playing for so long. Um, he also the way he plays is very like aggressive and unpredictable, and it's just usually like for me, I don't really like watching Fox Falco matches because you'd see a lot of Fox players, a lot of Falco players, and I just get tired of it. Like for me, I
Mm.
like to watch different matchups because I find it more interesting. But if Mango's playing Falco, like I'll watch, because he always does just crazy stuff that you wouldn't stuff that you wouldn't think would work, but it works somehow. So yeah, Mango's still active. Hungry Box is still active. Armada retired in 2018. But he did commentate recently, so that was kind of cool. Mewtwo King also retired. He played Ultimate for a while. I think he still streams, but I don't think he plays Melee so much anymore. He does like other gaming stuff. So these are the five gods. Um, I'm going to cover a couple other players just like briefly, just to provide a variety. So I'm going to cover two players that are more recent, and then two players that play unusual characters, because I think that's like a good just showing a variety of players. So these two, Jmook and Zain. I just chose this picture because I had both of them in it, so I didn't have to do any other copy paste. Both of them started playing in 2014. Jmook, he started blowing up in like 2022. He plays Sheik, so I like watching him a lot because I like seeing what he does with Sheik. It's pretty cool. But one interesting thing about Jmook, this is like one of those gimmicky things, is he has like perfect posture. So most gamers, like you slouch when you play. This dude is sitting here with his controller like this, perfectly straight, like, and playing really well.
Even in this picture, you could see.
Yeah, he's got, and he blew up because of that too. Because they're like, who's this dude with perfect posture? Like, so he started doing really well. Zayn also started in 2014, but he was a bit different. He plays Marth, and I love watching him because because I'm a Marth main. But in 2016, he beat a guy named Plup, who's ranked pretty highly. He beat him 2-0. And then he just continued to get better and better. And now he's considered the best melee player. From 2022 until now, he has been ranked number one. They have like a leaderboard based on tournaments and stuff. They
Mm.
calculate who's ranked number one. But Zayn is very cool to watch because he is he takes the technical skill very seriously. So it's very like crisp gameplay. And he has done some cool new stuff with Marth that I hadn't seen before. Like Ken's Marth and Zayn's Marth are way different. But that's just like, parts of the community that are cool. Now the more like unusual players, this guy axe, he plays Pikachu.
What
He's
happened
known
to
as the
that
best.
Pikachu?
Huh?
Why does that Pikachu look sickly?
Um, does he?
I don't know the way his body.
I think it's just because I think it's someone like photoshopped him on his shoulder. It's like he's kind of crooked, but he doesn't look sick to me. He looks happy. He's got his party hat on.
What's it called? The scoliosis or whatever.
Scoliosis. Dang. You could see it in his eyes. There's pain behind those eyes.
He's like, help me.
He's like, Pika. Someone needs to Photoshop a back brace on him. Help him out. Poor guy. Um, so Axe is he's the best Pikachu player and the best young Link player, two characters that are considered like mid tier.
Oh, I was
He
gonna
had
ask how
his
old is he then?
he's like
Okay,
30,
so
I
he's not
think.
young.
I still think 30 is young. Okay. I'm tired
Thank
of this.
you.
I'm tired of this dialogue. 30 is a new 20. Everyone can fuck off. Okay. We are not old. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. We're not old. His first major was in 2009. He
Mm.
got 33rd, which is not bad, all things considered. But then he actually won a major in 2019. He places top 8 pretty frequently, so he shakes up tournaments a lot. It's just cool to see like Pikachu, because you see like Fox Falco, Fox
Mm.
Marth, Falco Sheik, but then you see like a Pikachu match, and it's just different. It's fun to watch. Similar with Yoshi. This guy aMSa, he's Japanese.
Dang,
But I
that
think,
Yoshi is dripping.
yeah, he dripping. Someone made it, which is cool because they dressed up his Yoshi,
Mm.
aMSa's Yoshi like him. He's got the same hat and everything, and that's the Yoshi because you can have different skins. He always plays Pink Yoshi, so I thought that was really cool. But he's been playing since 2013. I remember this. He won his first major in 2022. He's the only Yoshi player to have ever like won a big tournament. And now he's ranked as number 4 because after that first win, it just kind of like snowballed and he just kept doing really well. Like he kind of cracked the code for a while. So that's really cool because Yoshi's another one where it's like not considered a high tier character. There is a tier list um of like, Fox, Falco are up top, Marth, Sheik, and then there's like this range of middle characters
Mm.
that get swapped around. So I think it's very refreshing to see those different matchups. It's a lot different, and I feel like as time goes on, we're gonna see more of that come in because I think part of the excitement with those is people haven't seen a lot of it before. People haven't seen
people use like these characters at such a high level, and it's just cool to watch. Like it's cool to watch Yoshi just like chucking eggs at someone. That's a part of what he does. He just like throws eggs, and yeah, so it's cool. So that's the players. I think it adds like a cool layer of um interest to the game because there's such a wide variety of different players. Um Bullet point number 4 is Nintendo. There's like 4 major categories. The first one's not really a category, but I think it's a good start because this was like the first major big tournament that they did was Evo 2013, and like Nintendo literally tried to block Melee from being streamed and tried to like shut it down.
Hmm.
They reversed it later because the fans there was a huge backlash from the fans. So I think this early instance kind of like sets the tone of Nintendo trying to stop the community fighting back in whatever way. Sometimes they don't win, but it's nice when you manage to fight back and win, right?
Hmm.
Cease and desist orders is another example. We talked about Slippy, the big house tournament online. There's others, but that's a great example is like getting this tournament set up and getting a cease and desist. Or the Smash World Tour was another one, getting another cease and desist. They spent all this money and they're just like, screw you. Project M, the game that I mentioned earlier, the mod for Smash Brothers Brawl. It was made by fans and it was widely used by the Melee community. And Nintendo banned it all the time. Why? Because it's infringing their intellectual property rights, which, like, okay, that's fine, but just another thing that Melee players like that Nintendo tried to put down because they would do Project M tournaments. They would try. A lot of the times they would get shut down, which is kind of sad. Copyright strikes, another big one. Streaming platforms, they strike down the content on the features Melee or any older Smash games, which of course, in turn, discourages content creators from posting competitive Melee matches or mods. So that limits the community's presence and growth potential because you're taking all that stuff away. Um, but I think that all of these things just add on to the resilience. Is like they try to bring us down, we come back stronger, like a David and Goliath type thing. Like we're just always there. Um, and the final category is nostalgia and
I
cultural
played
impact.
Brawlhalla.
Yeah, so these two games, Rivals of Ether, there's 2 of them now, Brawlhalla. Those games were inspired by Melee.
Oh.
So Melee like really popularized those platform fighters as a genre in the fighting game community. So that's one way that that kind of spilled over. I think the nostalgia is a big one. We grew up playing the GameCube. You see these characters, you see Mario, you see Donkey Kong, you see Bowser, and you get to play as them. Like it's just has this nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
And I think that Melee has influenced the fighting game community, like not only with these games, but just in general, um, influencing the culture. I think it's just because it's so legendary, like it's existed for so long that people look to Melee for some stuff. They're just different than other games, and it's an inspiring thing. So that is why Melee will never die. Drop the mic. That's all I got.
Rewind, let's start all over.
Hey, I'll talk about it again. I warned you. I warned you. I was like, this presentation is gonna be long.
So far, we've
And
been
I didn't even
recording
get
for an
into
hour
like
and 13 minutes.
hee hee hee. Well, the whole time wasn't even the thing. And we had banter. It wasn't just me, okay? Why
So
are you
I
looking
did
at me like
play.
that? I can see your face now.
I did play Brawl.
Holla. Hey. But if you managed to stick around this whole time for whatever reason, thank you. Um, Comment who your main is if you have one. Um,
Jigglypuff.
if not, who would who would you pick? Who do you like? Or what players do you like? Just comment about your favorite thing about Melee. I want to hear about it. I love talking about this
Or
game.
or if you feel sad and you need a hug, just comment. We'll do a virtual hug.
Speak for yourself. Brother, ugh. Don't touch
Okay,
me.
sorry. I'm trying to.
No, that's really nice. I think a virtual
See,
Hi
Rocky's even.
Rocky.
See, he's like,
Oh,
yeah,
Rocky wants a
hugs.
hug. He's like, Mom.
He's
Audio
like, I want my
listeners.
second meal for the day.
Oh, I don't need food. I just need your love. No, just kidding. I want food.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I'll take the food instead.
If you're listening via audio, Rocky put his paws up on her armrest. Now we have a Rocky cam, so you should probably just go on YouTube and look so you can see him in his glory. He's doing his paws like sliding. um yeah, I think almost every single stream. No, not every single. I bring up Melee on stream quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, how's he do? Oh man, he's really trying to balance there, huh? How does he think that's comfortable? Like, I don't understand why he thinks that's comfortable.
No, he wants to slide behind me.
Oh,
Yeah, it's right
yeah, I
there.
see.
He's
Kick
like,
you out of the chair.
ah.
He's like, that's that good stuff. You should get him like a baby chair,
I do
like a
have a
small
chair.
chair.
No, I have
He
like a
does sit
small
there.
pedestal. Yeah, he loves that spot.
Hmm.
But
But sometimes he just wants to assert his dominance. Dude, can we get a mod? Someone that's good at programming, can you add Rocky into Melee as a character?
imagine.
Dude, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
That would be really cool. I'd play. Um, have you've played Melee though, right?
Yeah,
You always
yeah.
had a GameCube growing up.
No,
No?
but I played at friends' houses. No, we
Oh,
had
you
the
guys
Super
didn't?
Nintendo.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think we
remember.
had a GameCube.
What about
Yeah.
Nintendo 64? Did you guys have that?
No, I think we played at my friend's house, like our neighbor.
Wait, so was it GameCube or sorry, Super Nintendo then Wii maybe? I'm trying to think of
No,
every
not we. Uh,
Really?
we went straight to. Well, we
Xbox,
had yeah Xbox. We had the
PlayStation.
PlayStations. Yeah,
Yeah. I still have that PlayStation 1 by the way.
good.
Well, it's in storage, but I do want to pull it out and play it on stream once I get my storage because I
Mm,
love that Disney Magical Kingdom racing game. Do you remember that one?
mm-mm.
It was basically like Mario Kart but with uh
Disney.
yeah, but it was like weird Disney characters like Chip and Dale.
Did I play that then? No, I played
I
Chip and
swear
Dale,
cuz
like a different game.
cuz you guys, I think when you gave us the PlayStation, you gave us the games and I'm pretty sure that was one of them.
Maybe I don't
I'm
remember.
I'm pretty sure.
I
Well,
blocked out a lot of my childhood, so I don't
no. I mean, same, but I was trying to be positive. Like, anyway, you also get to race around Magic Kingdom, so you could like race in like the Pirates ride.
Was one of them the Haunted Mansion?
Yeah,
Maybe then I remember it because I
yeah,
remember.
it was sick. You could race in like Space Mountain and all this stuff. It was so
Mm,
cool. I really liked it. And there was like a story. They were trying to build like some machine or something. So like every race that you won, you get like some part. I want to
mm,
visit that as an adult and see if I could beat it. But that's once I get my stuff out of storage. I don't have it out yet, so.
mm.
Plus, I got to figure out because my game capture card that I have now. Oh, I still have my old one. I wonder if that one works. But the new game capture cards, it's only HDMI, and the old consoles don't have that, so you can't do that. But the
Can't
old
you do
Elgatos do. Might still
HDMI
have
to
it.
3 ports?
Yeah,
I
but I need
think.
a converter for that, I think.
Mm.
Which is fine, like I can buy one, but yeah, I'll look because I might still have my old Elgato. I'll look at that. But I hope you liked it. I don't know. I I feel like when I tell people about Melee, their eyes just like glaze over because I'm like,
No, it was
I get
interesting.
so nerdy about
Now,
it.
if you gave me a quiz about it, I'd probably fail, but.
It was a lot of information, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really hard to encapsulate the game because there's so much. Also, comment if there's another aspect of Melee you want me to talk about because I will gladly do it. It will, I won't even think twice.
Talk next one. Do Brawl, my favorite game.
No, I, no. Please, let me have some integrity, okay? What little I have left, I'll keep it. And I hope you guys like the thumbnail. I worked hard on it. Good meme. But yeah, we'll see you
Mm.
guys next week for the next
I'll
whatever
figure it out.
whatever it's gonna be. Um and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And that's all I gotta say. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye
Bye.
bye. See ya.